Match quality is highly subjective, but while it's safe to say that WWE's creative team aren't exactly firing on all cylinders at the moment, the roster is as athletically impressive as it has ever been. Questionable booking decisions keep poisoning pay-per-views and Raw and SmackDown, but with a roster this talented, great matches are inevitable, even if consistency levels aren't quite what they were in 2017. Now, subjectivity is key here. There are only 10 available spots, and that meant that a lot of NXT and main roster matches had to be sacrificed along the way, but the bouts within compare favourably to anything else found anywhere on the planet. But enough of the bolo, I'm Andy for What Culture Wrestling, and here are the 10 best WWE matches of 2018 so far. Number 10, Buddy Murphy vs Cedric Alexander from 205 Live on the 29th of May. What's this, a 205 Live match on a match of the half-year list? Well, yes it is. 205 Live has been quietly excellent since Triple H took over, and Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy stand as two of its biggest prospects. The duo worked their arses off and they created possibly the best match in 205 history. Now granted, it does lose a point or two for the typically quiet 205 Live crowd, but had this taken place on a takeover before a white-hot audience, everyone would be talking about it. Number 9, Asuka vs Charlotte Flair from WrestleMania 34. It's a shame this match will always be remembered primarily for its controversial outcome, because the action leading up to that was tremendous and on par with anything the Women's Revolution has delivered on the main roster so far. The stakes were huge, so a big fight feel was inevitable, but Asuka and Charlotte enhanced this with a well-paced, dramatic bout that ticked every box. Now granted, the finish did come out of nowhere, which does knock it down a peg or two, but Asuka vs Charlotte was a banger regardless. Number 8, Seth Rollins vs The Miz from Backlash. If you want to make a case for Seth Rollins as Wrestler of the Year, and you should, he's been great, then this is your most compelling piece of evidence. The face-heel dynamic was absolutely perfect, with The Miz producing some classic heel work working away at Rollins' leg, which in turn drew some wonderful selling from the Architect. Miz's aggression and heel cutoffs were great, and Rollins' many comebacks were timed to perfection. Now there was a little bit of finisher spam at the end, which isn't to everyone's taste, but I don't want to split hairs. This was great. Number 7, Johnny Gargano vs Tommaso Ciampa from TakeOver Chicago. Just like their first TakeOver match, this was pure storytelling and as realistic a portrayal of pure unbridled hatred as you'll ever see in WWE. Every move was executed not with the intent of winning the match, but hurting the other man, and the sight of Gargano sat on the announce table peering down at his broken former partner was an excellent callback to last year's betrayal in the very same city. Ultimately though, Gargano paid the price for embracing too much of Ciampa's darkness, and he ate a DDT onto the exposed boards for the defeat. Silly sausage. Number 6, Danny Burch and ONeill Lorcan vs the Undisputed Era from TakeOver Chicago. This match proved two things. Number 1, no lagging NXT division is ever more than a single great match away from a revival, and number 2, ONeill Lorcan is the most insane human being on the planet. His performance was bananas and he took some insane bumps, but it was all for our entertainment as him and the spirited Danny Burch put up one hell of a showing against Undisputed's two purest wrestlers. They lost, but they were able to win over the notoriously difficult Chicago crowd who were on their feet by the end. That is a win in itself. Number 5, the North American title ladder match from NXT TakeOver New Orleans. WWE always do the big mad spot fests well, and this was one of the best they've delivered in years, certainly a level or two above the two Money in the Bank ladder matches, with some epic drama, set pieces, and of course, stunts. Ricochet dazzled the audience and emerged as the biggest star, but take nothing away from the likes of Killian Dane and Velveteen Dream, or Adam Cole, whose sneaky heel f***ery coasted him to victory, creating a memorable conclusion and installing him as an ideal first North American champion. Number 4, the Men's Royal Rumble. A true return to form, this was the best Rumble match in a long time, and after years of constant disappointment at this event, it was great to have a bout finally on par with the classics like 1992 and 2001. From Rey Mysterio's electric return to a fantastically well-booked closing stretch between fan favourite Shinsuke Nakamura and company man Roman Reigns, this was booked to perfection. It was full of great moments, and for that, it's one of 2018's biggest highlights. Number 3, Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey vs Triple H and Stephanie McMahon from WrestleMania 34. That this is our highest placing main roster match speaks volumes not only to Ronda Rousey's brilliance, but the main roster's inconsistency. Sure, Rousey had plenty of time to prepare and rehearse, and she was in there with a gaggle of old pros, but this is wrestling, it's a performance art, and to criticise it for that is just daft. Rousey was outstanding with her timing, presence and offense light years above her inexperience. Take nothing away from the other participants because they were all excellent, but this was all about Rousey. She's a star, and this might just be the best debut match in wrestling history. Number 2, Johnny Gargano vs Tommaso Ciampa from TakeOver New Orleans. A few melodramatic weekly TV moments aside, the Johnny Gargano vs Tommaso Ciampa rivalry has been sublime, and this was its finest hour. Yeah, it was kinda slow, but that worked to the match's benefit. You don't just rush through spots like this, particularly in such a story-driven feud. You got to give them time to breathe, time to resonate, and that's exactly what they did. There were apeshit spots aplenty, but for me, this was all about the optics, and particularly the moment when Gargano seized his partner with his own knee brace across his face while he applied the Gargano escape. What's great about the finish is that Johnny gave his partner a shot at redemption, but when Tommaso inevitably struck, Gargano was ready for him, a rare moment of intelligence from a WWE babyface. And number 1, Andrade Cien Almas vs Johnny Gargano from TakeOver Philadelphia. Separating Johnny Gargano's 2 TakeOver classics is so close it's almost a coin flip, but in terms of pure pro wrestling adrenaline, it doesn't get any better than this masterpiece. On one side you had Gargano, the ultimate underdog hero, a true babyface who'd worked through incredible adversity to get to this, the biggest match of his career. And on the other, Almas, an outstanding heel who'd gone from developmental bust to galactic megastar with Zelina Vega at his side, transforming him into WWE's most must-see developmental prospect. Expectations were through the roof, but somehow they exceeded them, and every single near fall was a real heart-in-mouth moment. The escalation of drama was absolutely perfect, and that's why this is number 1. So that's our list, but what were your favourite WWE matches of 2018 so far? Let us know down in the comments section below. And once you've done that, why not check out some of the videos currently floating around my head, then head over to whatculture.com/WWE and catch a few articles written by great men like Jamie Kennedy, Michael Cedric and Michael Hamflett. Once you've done that, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I've been Andy, and I'll see you later.